So you've hit your second shot on a par 5 quite close to the green, but we're in that awkward distance where it's not quite a full swing, but we're definitely not chipping yet. 99% of beginner golfers don't know how to play the basic pitch shot, but believe me, there's only 3 things we need to do to become an expert at this. So in this video, I'm going to tell you the 3 things I like to talk about when trying to get players to pitch the ball better. And if you stick around to the end, then I'm going to tell you the drill I do that get people striking the ball really well, flighting it down and hitting it with loads of spin. And I'd really appreciate it if you gave this video a quick like and subscribe, because it helps YouTube push this video to more people, it'll help me grow, and it help me do more things like this so I can get more content out to you guys. So the first thing we need to talk about is the setup. On a full swing, we take a nice wide stance because we need a full turn, but with a pitch shot, we're not doing that. We don't need a solid base, we're not making very long swings, so we do have to stand to this slightly differently. First thing we'll do is we're going to grip down the club. I don't really want you to grip at the top of the club because we just don't need the club head speed. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to bring our stance width into pretty narrow, and I really only like the stance width to be maybe 2 to 3 club head widths apart. Any more than that and it probably invites too much weight transfer and people start striking the ball poorly. We go down the grip, we go club stance width, 2 club head widths apart, and then how I like people to play pitch shots is the ball just inside their trail foot. Now this ball position might seem quite far back, but actually when measured on a TrackMan or a full swing launch monitor, a proper pitch shot launches at about half the loft of the club. So my 58 degree is going to launch about 29 degrees. So in order to create that de-lofted angle, I need the ball back in my stance. We're down the grip, narrow stance, ball back. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my weight forwards, because again, in an effort to try and de-loft the club, I need to have my weight forwards to have an angle of attack that's down on the ball, and that's going to allow me to really grip the ball with my grooves and create loads of spin, so that ball's going to stop very quickly. The best pitchers in the world are the golfers who are able to finish the ball as close to where it lands as possible, if not actually spin it back. When I see poor amateur pitchers, generally what they do is they hit the ball very high with very little spin, the ball lands and then it runs on 10 yards or so, which just makes it very hard to get the ball close. When we've got this sort of length shot, we should be thinking really about trying to make 2 from here, a good pitch shot, close and a putt, not pitch the ball on, and then hopefully it stops near the green, or take 3, maybe even 4 sometimes. We have to set up in a way that's going to create the appropriate launch conditions to hit that low spinning shot, which we see on tour. Once we have our good setup, that's point 1. Point 2 is we're going to talk about the delivery of the club into the golf ball. So to get that optimal launch window where I'm going to get that low launch with spin, I'm going to have to launch my 58 degree wedge at 29 degrees. And in order to do that, we're going to have to do a few things. So the first thing is we're going to try and deliver the club with our hands ahead of the ball, because that's going to immediately de-loft the club and bring that launch down. The second thing we're going to do is we're actually going to hit down on these shots and create a divot, because again, that steeper angle of attack is going to help put pressure on the top of the ball rather than slide under it, and that's going to give us a lower launch. The third thing we need to make sure is we've actually got clean grooves, and we're using a decent golf ball, a ball with a urethane cover, so a Pro V or a Tour Response or an AVX. They just bite a little bit more in the grooves, so if you've got clean grooves and a good ball, again, that's going to flight the ball down a little bit more, and that's going to give us more spin. If you're using something like a soft feel, that's probably just going to launch a bit higher than a tour ball or a urethane covered ball would. So if you're struggling with your pitch and you can't get the ball to stop, you might want to consider changing golf ball. Now, in order to deliver the club with my hands ahead and a downward angle of attack, what we're going to do is we're going to address the ball with our weight, mainly on our front foot. We're going to allow our wrist to hinge backwards in the backswing, which de-lofts the club. And we're going to try and get our hands to swing around us on the way through, instead of straight and release like you would a driver. All these 3 things combined are going to allow us to hold that angle, deliver less loft, and have our hands move around, which then means we're never like releasing the club up and adding loft. We're going to hinge our wrists, we're going to have our hands come forwards, and then we're going to move our hands around us. Yeah, that was pretty good. that landed, then took one big bounce, then checked up at the end. So that was pretty good. You can see that I'm getting a divot after the golf ball. I'm really trying to not hit the grass before I make contact with the ball, because I don't want any debris to get into the grooves, because any amount of water, grass or mud that gets trapped between the ball and the club face, that's immediately going to send the ball launching higher, less spin, less control. So we need clean grooves, we want a clean strike, and we need that ball biting on that second bounce. So now that we've got a setup and some swing ideas, we need to talk a little bit about distance control. So most golfers or most beginners are going to have at least a sand wedge and a pitching wedge, and most golfers actually play lob, sand, gap and pitching wedge, so have 4 different wedges in the bag, and that gives us lots of variety. So first thing you want to do is get an understanding for how far does the ball go when I swing left arm parallel to the ground to right arm parallel to the ground, a half swing. So once I know how far a half swing goes with each club, that's going to give me 4 different distances, which I'm then going to be able to basically base my entire pitching system off. I'm not a massive fan of Bryson's clock face system, just because I know when I get out on the golf course, sometimes I'm going to feel amped and I'm going to nail it. Sometimes I'm going to feel tired and it's not that a 730 is only going to go so far. And the other thing as well with that is I just don't think people are very good at knowing exactly how far they're swinging. So they might think they're doing a 9 o'clock but do a 10 o'clock, nail it past, and then I get calls from golfers going, oh, my pitching system doesn't work. So I try to be a little bit more feel based. I really just want to know how far a half swing goes, and then from there I can really work up and down from that. So I know my half swing with my 58 degree goes about 60 to 65 yards on the fly. It's going to hop and spin, but it's about 60 to 65. So if I wanted to play a bit shorter than that, I'm then just going to shorten my swing, and then if I wanted to go a bit further, I'd just swing a bit longer. Now, one of the things I think is key here is I always try to keep my follow-through position the same on all length of shots. So whether I'm playing a 40-yarder or an 80-yarder, I like to feel like my hands finish nice and low, and I like to feel that the club head hasn't overtaken my hands really early, and I've almost still got that angle in my right wrist, which is de-lofting the flight. And that way I'm always getting a fairly predictable launch window, never getting shots that pop up and fly miles or go nowhere. And that just helps me predict how far I'm going to hit the ball more consistently. So if I was doing a short one, it'd be short swing, same finish position, so that's come out really low and spinny. Or if I wanted to play one to the back edge of the green, I'll swing a little bit longer, and I'm going to try and feel like I'm finishing in the same position every time. That one's just pitched on the back edge and hopped over. So those 3 things that we've just talked about, the setup, the swing mechanics, and then the distance control method, that if you just work on those things, then your pitching is going to go from not very good to a key part of your game, and you're going to find yourself saving shots out on the course all the time, converting birdies on par 5s and saving par on holes where you've been out of position and your scores are just going to get lower and lower. This is a part of the game that I think is absolutely vital for the amateur golfer. I've never met anyone who's too good at this. It's all feel, and it all starts with a good setup and a good strike. So if you work on those 3 things, your pitching's going to be better. Now, the drill I really like to do with players that just helps them get the good strike and the good launch angle is using an alignment stick. You'll have seen this one before. And I just put the alignment stick 1 club head behind the golf ball, and then I stand on it at address. And then what I'm going to try and do is make a swing where I swing down and don't hit the stick. If I swing in too shallow, or I'm going to hit the ground too early, I'm going to hit the stick and fluff the shot. Where what we're always trying to do is swing down over the stick, steeper angle of attack. It's going to allow your hands to be more forwards. That's really going to drive the ball low out there. So not quite a long enough swing, but great contact with the ball, really nice low spinny flight, and just doing that, 4 or 5 shots before you play is just going to help you encourage a better contact and a better launch, which is always going to allow you to strike the ball better. Yeah. I love this part of the game because it just allows me to save shots and catch up with people when I've been wild off the tee or I've had to chip out or something. A good wedge shot on any hole will always bring you back into the hole and always give you a good look at par. So you can never be too good at this. We should all be trying to make sure that this is a strength of our game. And if you do, you're going to see your handicap coming down, no problem. Thanks very much for watching the videos. If you can please like and comment to boost the engagement, and subscribe if you don't already, that'd be great. If you like what I put out in these videos, you like what I say about technique, I can actually help you with your game no matter where you are in the world. So if you just want to click the link in the bio, it'll take you to Skillist, which is an online coaching platform, and there you can look to see what I do, and actually I can help you with your game. So analyze your swing, give you some drills and tips to help you improve, so we can work together to help you lower your handicap. But anyway, let's get back to the video.